Welcome guys to Planet Zoo. They finally released the beta phase today, so we are able to play the beta phase for I guess 2 weeks now, until it's then finally released on the 5th of November, if I'm right. So yeah, I'm very excited to play this game. I already played Planet Coaster and just started recently Jurassic World Evolution. And I really liked those games. So I can't wait to play this game. So let's first create our avatar. Let's see what we can do. Usually you can change this avatar anyways. Later on, at least that's how it was in Planet Coaster. But it doesn't really matter because after the beta phase, they will reset the whole progress. So you have to start all over again when they finally release it. Let's just pick anything. Nope, I don't need these. Yeah, that's fine, I guess. Yeah, let's just leave him like that. So, during this phase, we are right here. And during this phase, we are only able to play the first quest of the career mode because they said they didn't want to spoil the whole story before the game is even released or something like that. And they also said it's not exactly like in Planet Coaster, so you basically traveling around the world and have to start every time a new zoo, but always have different conditions, so the whole environment and the weather and some things like that are always different, so you have to adjust your buildings and animals to that. And the sandbox mode is also not available, so we can only play the first quest of the career mode. That's what we will do today and the next days, as long as it takes. And then we will play the franchise mode until the beta mode is closed again. Yep, let's count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So there will be 12 quests, of course, because 36 and 3 stars each, so we got 12 quests. In Planet Coaster, I also got all stars and achievements, and if I remember correctly, there were like 63 stars or 66, anything like that, around 60 or 70, I believe. So let's start the career mode. I also turned up the settings, the graphics settings a bit, because the automatic one for my graphic card was on medium, but I wanted it to see in high first, so let's see if it's good like that. But also remember that it still can look better if you go in the ultra settings. But if it lags too hard, I have to go down a bit.
I have a habit of slipping back into the Planko language. It's good to finally meet you in person. I'm Bernard, although I insist you call me Bernie. The only person who calls me Bernard is my wife. And even then, only when I've tracked elephant dung into the carpets. As you know, I own several zoos, but I always like to show people the ropes here at my home. This is the first zoo I ever opened, and a source of great pride for me. And prides, thanks to a lion breeding program we ran in the 80s. But we're in the middle of a big renovation, and that's where you come in. Sadly, our old contractor had to retire after developing a fur allergy. Poor devil kept sneezing his dentures into the lion habitat. So, it's up to you to finish everything off. Don't worry, though. I'm not completely throwing you in at the deep end. My head keeper, Nancy Jones, will be lending a helping hand. Oh, she's a hard worker, and she'll expect you to be too. But I'm sure you'll get along like a house on fire, or even better, one that isn't on fire. Less shouting that way.
Hello there. From that rosy, fresh face of yours, I'm guessing you're Bernie's new hire. Good. Now, I hope you're ready to ditch your diploma, because we're about to get really hands-on. But before we begin the real work, how about we familiarize you with the zoo by learning how to fly around it and visiting some of our beautiful animals? We'll start by popping over and having a look-see at the grizzly bears in their habitat.
Okay. So first of all, I really like this one because like I said, I recently played Jurassic World, and there you weren't able to undo things. So once you have built them, there was no way to undo that or move the buildings, so you had to destroy it and then build it again. So it's nice to see that this function is also here, like in Planet Coaster. Alright. Seems like this is still in German, even though I changed it to English. So, we have to find the beers, correct? Is it
Did you know
this one?
that grizzly bears, also known as Ursus arctos horribilis, can hibernate for up to 7 months a year? Oh, but then again, given the chance, I think a lot of people would do that too. Select one of the bears and you'll bring up its information panel. This is where you can find out all kinds of information about your animal. The most important thing being its overall welfare. You'll learn more about animal welfare today as we go through your objectives. But for now, let's enjoy this magnificent animal. Why don't you select the camera at the bottom of its information panel? See now, this is a fantastic way to get a close look at your animals. You can also get this view of an animal by simply double-clicking on it.
Okay, that looked a bit strange.
Okay, when you're ready, let's pop over to the other side of the zoo and take a look at the lions. I've marked their location for you to find.
But it's great how many details they get on the fur and everything. And I'm not even playing it on the highest graphics settings like mentioned before. The lions, so the movement, the camera movement is pretty much the same like Planet Coaster. I haven't noticed any difference yet.
Panthera leo leo, or the West African lion to you and me. Lions are the most social of the big cats, and there can be as many as 40 lions in a pride, although prides of that size are pretty rare. As Bernie would say, those lions are awesome. Which is precisely why I handle the training instead these days. Anyway, how about we get started on those objectives? Come on, let's head over to our warthog habitat and see what needs doing there. As you can see, it's a lovely space for warthogs, but it's missing a certain something. Well, two somethings. The warthogs. So I'd like you to adopt a pair of them. To adopt animals, we need to open the animal market, which is in the animal trading section. There we are, a pair of perfectly splendid warthogs for our zoo. Just click on them and select Buy from the side menu. Normally the animal exchange would be full of animals, but I've emptied out the market while you learn how it works. The last thing I need is you accidentally ordering a dozen elephants.
So it also says adopt and not buy. But anyways,
When you adopt an animal, it's automatically placed in the trade centre, where they're held until you're ready to move them into their habitat, which, as it happens, you are. So how about you move them into their new home?
I think
When
I
you
have
ask
to
for an
click
animal to be
in
moved
there.
into a habitat, your caretakers will go to the trade centre, collect your animal, and deliver them to your selected habitat. I've marked the trade centre's location, so let's go and watch the caretakers in action. Well, as you can see, those caretakers don't hang about. They'll move those animals to their destination as fast as possible. Of course, normally we'd have to place the animals into quarantine before moving them into a habitat, but I am assured by a person of good standing that these warthogs are in the very rudest of health. Right, let's get the warthog's habitat finished up so we can keep them nice and happy. You see, each animal in the zoo has an overall welfare statistic, basically how happy they are. And that overall welfare statistic is itself comprised of 4 different areas: nutrition, social health, habitat, and enrichment. Luckily, if you select an animal, you'll bring up their animal welfare information panel, which we saw earlier, where you can see how they're doing. That way, you'll know exactly what areas need to be addressed. Don't worry if that's a lot to remember. You can always check the Zoopedia for more information. Let's
Okay.
start by making sure we're taking care of the warthog's nutrition welfare. To do this, we'll need to place a food station and a drinking station. Now, each animal requires a different type of feeding station, and for the warthogs, it's a small feeding trough. So let's add one of those and a water bowl.
I'm not sure if they are afraid of the visitors, so I will place it more to the side where they can be a bit alone.
Animals also require stimulation to keep them happy. Let's add a lovely mud bath for the warthogs to roll around in. That bath will count towards their enrichment welfare, specifically their toy enrichment welfare.
Well, yeah, I won't go through everything now. I will read that all once it's finally released, because maybe they will still do some changes, and if I will remember them now, I probably just forget them until it's released, so I'm fine for now.
Oh, nice work. You've got a knack for this, I see. Now, our contractor had to leave in a hurry, so this place is in a fair old state. Unfinished thingamajigs and whatsits all over the shop. But the first thing we need to finish is the ostrich habitat. It's over near the hippos.
Let's turn down the graphics back to medium and see if the little stutters will stop. Or if my PC is just too bad for that. I mean, I will play it anyways. I don't really care or notice it. I just blend it off my brain. But I know you guys want to see how it looks like. How it looks like. Likes. I don't know.
Okay, job number 1 here is to add a habitat gate before we complete the barrier. Every habitat needs a habitat gate. After all, how else would the keepers get in and out? Just make sure it's hooked up to the path so the keepers can reach it.
So where can I place it? Oh, okay, only here.
Right, let's complete the perimeter barrier so we can adopt us some ostriches. I've marked out an area for you to use, so I'd like you to finish off the perimeter using the brick barrier. Good work. Remember, before you can place animals in any habitat, it has to have a full loop of connected barrier. Now, you've probably noticed that guests can't actually see into this habitat at the moment. At least not without a stepladder. But seeing as they're banned, I'd like you to select a piece of barrier and swap out the brick for a glass barrier, so the guests can see in.
How do I accept it? Doesn't work with escape or return. Glass. Oh, okay. Let's do some one-way glass. Did I do it wrong?
There we go. Adding in more windows
Okay.
gives guests even more opportunities to see the animals in a habitat. It's always best to make sure the guests can get a good view into a habitat from the path they're walking on, because it makes them happy, and because this would be a pretty terrible zoo if they couldn't. The last thing we need to do is to add a donation box. You see, when guests enjoy the view of an animal, they'll make a donation. Just make sure you put them in easy-to-reach places, like near a viewing point. Donation boxes are one of the main sources of income for the zoo, so make sure you remember them.
Let's place them
All right, you've finished the habitat, so it's high time we adopted those
besides
ostriches,
the
don't you
windows,
think? Let's get 4 of them in here.
because that's the point where the visitors will stay, right? So we have to adopt 4 new animals. Okay, there is no option to select all and buy them all at once.
While we wait for them to be collected by the caretakers and brought to the habitat, you should get it ready for them. Add a suitable feeding station, water station, and an appropriate food enrichment item. It's often best to place things like enrichments and feeding stations near to the habitat perimeter, so guests can get a really good view of the animals.
So I actually don't know if it's just during the tutorial or if it always adjusts the correct items when you look at the habitat. So Boy, I'm lagging.
Oh, good to see the ostriches have somewhere they can really stretch their legs. Did you know they can actually run at 43 miles per hour? Oh, heaven forbid they ever escape. The speed camera fines alone would bankrupt us.
Well, Bernie certainly seems impressed. Did he do his speed camera joke? Every time we get an ostrich. So, now we've made the ostriches' lives a bit better, let's do the same for the keepers, shall we? To make it easier for the keepers to feed the ostriches and hippos, we should build a new keeper hut. Keeper huts are where the keepers prepare the food for animals, so they should be placed near to the habitats to make sure the keepers don't waste their time walking when they should be looking after the animals.
Oh, sorry. Didn't see the box there.
This keeper hut only has space for one keeper, but the larger keeper hut can allow multiple keepers to prepare food at the same time. Oh, but bear in mind that keeper huts and other staff facilities shouldn't be placed near to areas where there are lots of guests. Guests don't like seeing facility buildings, and it can affect their happiness. Negatively. In case that wasn't clear. Something that all facilities, shops, and a whole host of other objects need is power. And that obviously includes your newly built keeper hut. So let's place a transformer next to it, shall we? Now, the reason everything has gone blue is because you're using the power heat map. This map allows you to see what is and what isn't powered in your zoo. So once you've placed your transformer, you can click in the bottom left to turn the heat map off. Lovely work. Now the keepers can start using the hut to prepare food, and thanks to where you've put it, they won't need to walk very far to deliver it to the ostriches and hippos. Let's get on to your next objective then. Bengal tigers. We want to adopt some, but I'm afraid there's nothing ready for them yet. Head on over to the plot of land I've marked out. It's not too far away. Righty, your next job is to build a habitat. From scratch. And wood and concrete, I expect. So go ahead and build it. And don't forget the habitat gate. It's always best to place the habitat gate close to the keeper hut. As it happens, there's one quite near to the trade centre. Oh, and make sure the guests will be able to see the tigers.
So is this one the nearest one? If so, we will make the door anywhere on this side. Oh boy, I think I have to buy a new PC to play that game. Can't we just make a straight one there, or make it... Okay, can't undo that. Yeah. I can't make straight ones from there. Ah, no, I can.
Now, Bernie takes safety very seriously at his zoos, so we should probably make sure those tigers can't jump out of their habitat, don't you think? The way we'll do it is by changing the height of the habitat's barrier. Okay then, you should start by double-clicking the habitat barrier, which will take you into barrier editing mode. Great. Now highlight the entire perimeter of the habitat. You can do that by clicking and dragging the barrier selection tool. Now you've got all of the perimeter selected, you can increase the height of it by clicking and dragging the barrier height tool upwards. You'll want to make sure it reaches a minimum height of 4 meters.
Okay, wait. So again, how do I select the whole one? Well, I mean, that can't be the way, right? There must be a faster option. Well, I guess she just said it and I didn't pay attention, so we have to do it like that. What the hell? No. Because, I mean, now it's selected, but I can't do anything, and then when I click edit, it only goes to one barrier part again. Four meters, she said, right? Well, let's make it a bit higher. That it's 4 meters. So why is it not completed?
Now, Bernie takes safety very seriously at his zoos, so we should probably make sure those tigers can't jump out of their habitat, don't you think? The way we'll do it is by changing the height of the habitat's barrier. Okay then, you should start by double-clicking the habitat barrier, which will take you into barrier editing mode.
Yes.
Great. Now highlight the entire perimeter of the habitat. You can do that by clicking and dragging the barrier selection tool. Now you've got all of the perimeter selected, you can increase the height of it by clicking and dragging the barrier height tool upwards. You'll want to make sure it reaches a minimum height of 4 meters.
But it is 4 meters. So we found now a better way to select it. But let's make it 5 then.
Okay, that's the habitat boundary complete, the habitat gate in
Okay.
place, and most importantly, the tigers won't be able to jump out of it anymore. I think it's time we adopted those tigers.
So I think that she said a minimum that 4 should be also enough, but we also did 4.02 and it wasn't enough, so not sure what actually was the problem there. I think maybe some better mode mistakes. 2 tigers.
Whilst our trusty caretakers collect and deliver the tigers, let's take a look at preparing the habitat for their arrival. We'll start with the basics. Add a suitable feeding station for them. This time, instead of adding a water bowl, let's try something different. Some animals need a pool in their habitat so they can go for a swim, but they can also use it to drink from. All you have to do is make sure the banks of the pool have a gentle slope so they can easily get a nice, refreshing drink. There's already a pool excavated, but you still need to fill it with water. You should do that by going into terrain and selecting the water tool. Yes, that'll do nicely. Of course, just like the warthogs and ostriches, these tigers will also need some enrichment. Why don't you add some suitable toy and food enrichment items into their habitat?
Here they are. Ooh. They look great. Look at that. Never seen a leggy animal that looks so great. Ooh.
Okay, it's really starting to take shape. Now, the tigers will need a shelter in their habitat so they can hide from the guests, or more likely, the bad weather. Although, given that we're in England, you might want to think of that just as normal weather. Go on, add a shelter to their habitat. You can either build one from various suitable bits and bobs, or if you like, just pop down the blueprint that I've already built for you. Oh, poor Dabs. I'm sure it can't have escaped your attention that the tigers look a bit miffed. That's because they aren't too keen on the type of terrain in their habitat. Select a tiger and bring up its information panel.
I'm actually not sure. Okay, yeah, it's probably because we made it to 5 meters. And so 4 meters should be at this point. Not that the roof here is lower than 4 meters and they can get up on it and just jump over. Okay, what did she say? What do we have to do? So let's click on them and
Rightio.
see what
Click on the
they
terrain
need.
tab. That way you can view the terrain information and see how they feel about the different types of terrain. That'll tell you what the tigers need more of or less of in this habitat. Okay then, open the terrain editing tool, select painting, and give them some more soil. Yes, that should help with the habitat part of their welfare.
So let's take the heavy one and intensity 50%.
Right then, all animals need plants and trees from their own biome or continent. You know, deserts, savannas, or Asia, Europe, that sort of thing. It looks like these tigers need a few more plants in their habitat. To get a perfect fit, use plants from the rainforest and temperate biomes that are native to Asia. Although if you have to, you can get away with using just one or the other. The tigers will also want a certain amount of their habitat to be covered by those plants. To find out which plants to use and how many, select a tiger and go to the Environment tab. Now, as you can see, some of the plants currently in the habitat aren't quite right for the tiger, like the wattle bushes. You can remove them if you want. You can find all of the plants you need in the nature section, and you can use the filters to only show the types of plants you want to see. In this case, that's plants from the rainforest or temperate biomes.
So this one we can trash. Wattle bush. So Asia is right. Tropical temperate grassland. Okay, so these are the ones we can use. So let's just use a few of them. Okay. How many does he need? Okay, so this will take a while because he really needs a lot of them. Let's just spam them a bit, so it won't take too long for you to watch. Oh, holy. Nice.
They say the good fences make good neighbors. I guess that's doubly true when one of the neighbors is a Bengal tiger. Still, those tigers look so happy that I doubt they'd leave, even if you did poke a hole in their fence. Oh, but for heaven's sake, don't test that theory.
Right, let's head over to the Indian peafowls. I've been told that we need to improve their social welfare. Now then, just find one of the peafowls and select them to open our information panel. Then we can have a good gander at how they're doing. Although technically, I suppose gandering would just be for geese.
Hello, buddy.
Expand their social welfare, and we can get a bit more detail.
Alright. Go out of camera mode.
Now, they've clearly got plenty of space, and they're not stressed, but it looks like their social group isn't quite right. So let's find out more. Click on the social tab at the top of their information panel to see what's wrong.
We need another
As you
one.
can see, the peafowls need their population to be larger. To solve this little problem, you'll need to adopt 3 more female peafowls. Well, off you pop to the animal market. Good work on those peafowls. I expect they'll be delivered soon. But sadly, it sounds like our snow leopard is a bit grumpy. Let's head over there and see what's wrong with her. Just like people, animals can suffer from stress if things aren't quite
Ooh,
right. You know,
look
like
at
when
that
you see
kitty
someone putting the
cat.
milk before the tea bag. In the case of these snow leopards, they're a bit stressed by their lack of privacy. You can lower their stress levels by swapping out the normal glass barriers for one-way glass. It's not a cheap option, but I think they're worth the expense, don't you? This will give the snow leopards somewhere to go when they want to get away from the prying eyes of the guests.
Maybe I'm doing it wrong, but there should be definitely a way to select them all at once instead of just going around and select everything. Was that correct? No.
Of course, when an animal isn't in its natural biome, it's probably going to be too hot or too cold. Unsurprisingly for the snow leopards, it's too hot. Even with the terrible British weather. You should help cool it down by adding some coolers to their habitat. But let's start by opening up the temperature heat map and having a look-see at the temperature in the leopard's habitat.
Heat map was down here, right? Yes.
As you can see, we already have one cooler in there. Let's pop some more down and get as much of the habitat as chilly as we can. Luckily for us, this habitat already has power, but you'll need to make sure of that in the future. Just so you know, if any part of a habitat is powered, then the whole habitat will be powered. You can find heat maps for all sorts of helpful things, so do be sure to explore them and make good use of them.
Is that enough?
It'll take a little while for the temperature to adjust once you've added coolers or heaters, but now we've got the coolers in, we can address the leopard's terrain welfare. You see, what the leopards really want in here is snow and rock, so let's make that happen.
Terrain. First, click on one. How do we open the toolbox again? there it is. So we need snow. Wait, what? Why is snow going down? I selected the wrong one.
Now then, all of that should give
Stupid
you a
me.
pretty good understanding of how to make animals happy. So I'd like you to go and check on all the other animals in the zoo and fix up any issues with their habitats. That'll increase the average welfare of the animals across the whole zoo. And that average welfare is a very important statistic. Now, to quickly see how all your animals are doing in the zoo, you should go into zoo management and then into the animals section. As you can see, this list shows you the animal's overall welfare. So if something's amiss, then you can quickly pop over to them using the locate button. Right, I'm off for a cuppa while you make sure all the animals are well looked after.
Hey, is he fine now? No. Oh, now he just changed. Okay, still a bit enrichment. Food could help. Where was it? There. So now we have no more filters, I guess. So I have no clue which one would be the right one for them. Let's place it in the middle, not that they jump out. Wait, we got another one. So they get some of these. Maybe it takes some time, or I just placed the wrong things. Let's just place some. I mean, food is also water, right? Or would it be listed differently? Species. Aha. This one we already got. Yeah, let's just give them some more. Terrain. Okay, so these guys should be fine. Still don't know. I mean, is it really not not many enough? Because they say it's not enough to cover all animals, or will it just take some time? Well, let's just play some more then and see if this helps. Well, this must be enough. So I think it's maybe a bug or I do anything wrong. Wait, welfare coverage. We can still get some more plants, but let's see. Why do we get so many of them? Okay, I hope he will clean it automatically. I don't know if I can give him the accept order to clean it, but yeah, here it's the same problem. What the hell? I don't know why I keep getting these. Yeah, you should do it, buddy. Or isn't it the job of the keeper to clean it? Well, how much did we get? 75, so let's look at some other habitats. Oh, the giraffes. Look at that one. I'm still amazed from the details they put into the animals. Enrichment, oh wonder. Food enrichment, how could it be? Yeah, let's get first of all the terrains, because they are probably the easiest. So here we need some grass. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. We need short. I thought grass is overall. This one we already got. This one we also hard shelled. Well, I only have two there. How many shelters do they need? I mean, they can't take one shelter each, right? Or is it just a placement? So people can't look at it. I mean, it changed, but not to the good side. Why do they keep getting boxed again? Let me see. Damn it, where are the tigers? There they are. Did it work? No. Okay. I guess they escape and then gets brought back. Yeah, still 0 food enrichment. Aha. Now I got it. But I still don't know where they escape. So here you have your food enrichment. Now I covered everything and have no space anymore. Welcome back. There we go. But they need 2 of them. Well, where should I get the space for it, dude? 44% must be enough. So let's get them some food enrichment as well. For the release, I know it, so I don't have to place like 10 million food plates. Oh, so close.
Not bad. Not bad at all. I
Ooh,
think
we
it's fair to
got
say
the
that you've passed the
golden
first part of your
star.
training with flying colours. There's still lots more to learn, but we'll have to head to another one of Bernie's zoos for that. If you want to grab your passport, we'll head off, shall we?
All right.
Sounds like you got the whole zoo purring away nicely. Well, purring, grunting, screaming, booming. All the appropriate noises. I guess I was right to hire you, huh? Don't tell her I told you, but Nancy wasn't sure you'd even last the morning. So, we're happy this is working out. And Nancy owes me a Foxy coffee. As strange as it seems, considering we just met, when I look at you, I feel like you're the child I never had. After the one I did have, obviously. But you see, zookeeping's not for my daughter. Don't get me wrong. Emma absolutely loves animals, but she set her sights somewhat higher. Wants to save the entire planet. I'll just settle for saving a couple of species. Oh, and maybe having a type of frog named after me.
Okay, so that's it, guys. This was the one career mission or quest that we can do during the beta phase. The next time we will play the franchise mode, it was, I believe. I really like the game so far. Like I said, probably my PC is just too bad, so everything is lagging a bit. I don't even care about, because I already know that always happens, and so I just blend it off. I hope you could or were able to do it as well. Anyways, I hope you get a glimpse at the game. I hope you like it as much as I do, and we will see us the next time. Bye bye, guys.